remember most about the '64 campaign was the '64 Civil Rights Act. My dad had been a Republican all his life. And in '64, he switched. And he voted for Johnson, and he became a Democrat because Goldwater was against the '64 Civil Rights Act.
Are you concerned, perhaps, about the Democrats taking advantage of this?
After Lyndon Johnson, the biggest faker in the United States, having opposed the Civil Rights Act for all the years of his life, this is the phoniest individual that ever came around. Did you get that?
Thank you, Senator.
Lyndon Johnson, a Southern senator who'd long been ambivalent about civil rights legislation, made big efforts to complete an agenda that Kennedy had not been able to complete.
My fellow Americans, I am about to sign into law the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I want to take this occasion to talk to you.
The 1954 Supreme Court decision against segregation in public schools sent a signal to black Americans that the highest court in the land had given the seal of approval to what we were fighting for racial integration. Well, with the schools, there was a 10-year period when the country didn't follow through on it.
You have said, I believe, that we have no right to tell the southern states what they must do about school integration. I can't understand this statement. Do you mean to say the Supreme Court decision is null and void?
No, the Supreme Court decision is not necessarily the law of the land. The Constitution still is. They interpreted by that action that it was wrong to have segregation. Now, they didn't spell out what was to be done.
Conservatives did not feel that it was something that the federal government should legislate on.
What the President has proposed in this bill is a law which will eliminate one of the most embittering forms of racial discrimination: the denial of free access to places of public accommodation, restaurants, stores, hotels, lunch counters, and other establishments of service or amusement.
I will never vote for a public accommodations clause in any civil rights bill because I think it's unconstitutional. I think it tampers with the rights of assembly, the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the freedom of property.
In my home state, we have very few public places that remain segregated by pointing out to business people that it is morally wrong to practice discrimination, and it's also economically bad. This type of approach, while I know it's time-consuming, it is having its effect, will have its effect, and I think it will achieve what we want.
Well, like what year? In 1967, in 1979, in 1983? Is it okay during the intervening times that a black kid in a high school baseball team can't stay at a motel?
This is the basic disagreement between the Negro community and Senator Goldwater.
On the eve of the convention, 40,000 people, half of them Negroes, demonstrate against Goldwater in the largest civil rights demonstration since the March on Washington last summer.
I am compelled to urge Negroes and all people of goodwill to vote against him. His election would be a tragedy and certainly suicidal almost for the nation and the world.
You know, nobody knows, or none of us knew, what Senator Goldwater's motives were. We had to take him at his word that this was a constitutional, a philosophical objection. People respected that there could be a difference of opinion, but he was wrong. He was just plain wrong. And because he was wrong, he made his party wrong, and he made the Democrats right.
I was a Goldwater girl. I mean, really, we used to wear, you know, little banners which said Goldwater girl.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
was a Goldwater girl. I mean, really, we used to wear, you know, little banners which said Goldwater girl.
Well, if Goldwater ever becomes president, one thing his presence in the White House will do, it will make black people in America have to face up to facts, probably for the first time in many, many years. And this in itself is good, in that Goldwater is a man who's not capable of hiding his racist tendencies, and at the same time, he's not capable of even pretending to Negroes that he's their friend. So this will have a tendency to make the Negro, probably for the first time, do something to stand on his own feet and solve his own problem, instead of putting himself in a position to be misled, misused, exploited by the whites who pose as liberals only for the purpose of getting the support of the Negro. So in one sense, Goldwater's coming in will awaken the Negro, and it will probably awaken the entire world, more so than the world has been awakened since Hitler.
Are you the gay president because you put forth policies for them, or are we saying that black people are not Americans?
All of those other groups have an economy, the blacks do not. The black politicians are not the answer. We do bidding for other groups while we do gestures for blacks. They say hands up, don't shoot, and when it comes to us doing things for blacks, we say hands up, don't legislate.
Black people have to see you as traitors indeed. You see how whites do their politicians when they turn on them or fail to give them what they demand.
That's the beauty of having black people as your voters. They expected nothing from me. If black people set up businesses, they will see their money flow within the community. Then they can control the politicians to do their bidding. This world runs on money. We politicians don't respond to prayer, we respond to who gives us money. Black people know this though. Have you seen those long lines of them at Foot Locker before?
Yes, I have, and I have never seen them say that they were going to buy some Jordans with some spirituality. They buy it with money.